Hi, I'm Othais, and this is our annual t-shirt campaign. If you understand how this works and you're ready to go, just go on Indiegogo and do the thing you've done every year before, and frankly the thing that I thank you for because it's the only reason this show still exists. If you don't understand what's going on, then please allow me to explain. But first, like always, a little background. As you can tell, I am not in our usual studio. I'm in our new studio, and this is actually the very first video that's being filmed in a frankly incomplete facility. However, I hope that what little bit you can see gives you an idea that we are further investing in the primer series. We are going to take it very seriously to deliver you the best information in the best possible way over and over again. And on that front, we're also going to try to go a little bit further back into the past and a lot further forward into the future and tell every historical firearm story that we can, as long as we have access to the proper materials and information. I'm hoping 2025 will be a year that will get you guys much more excited about our mission. Now, in order to support all that though, we had to build this. And frankly, we've been expanding in ways that I can't even talk about for special projects next year, in a period of, frankly, rampant inflation and other problems. So we are very reliant on our patrons over at Patreon or Player, and the big chunk of sort of usable funds that we get to move around and play with comes from our annual t-shirt campaign. This campaign, yes, provides you a product for currency, but don't forget, a big part of why you're participating from here on out is just to support the show. It's because you want to see the mission completed. Yes, we have gone out of our way to have quality shirts that are still very comfortable. They are screen printed, actually screen printed. Although these are digital prints, by the way, the quality on these is not the same as what you're gonna get. You're gonna get vibrant colors, you're gonna get long lasting materials. These are the previews that were sent to me so I could knock out this video and finish up the sizing on these things. So, for anyone who is confused about the quality, by the way, check the comments. I'm sure some of the guys from the previous years will let you know what they liked, what they didn't, and what's been great. So, what do I actually have? Well, this year I'm going to start things off by going in order of sort of camouflagedness, because a lot of people request shirts that don't actually have guns on them so they can wear them to work or in mixed company. And other people, they want to shout it out loud. And if you're the kind of person that can do both, well, by all means, you can have all five. But let's start right here with our moose milk. This is a black t-shirt that's going to have a very vibrant white moose milk printed on it. The digital print is a little darker. This is obviously inspired by our favorite mixture of ballistol and water, a cure-all for anyone who shoots black powder. This is an excellent present for somebody that likes C&Rsenal, somebody that likes ballistol, or somebody that just likes black powder. And suitably, it's on a black shirt, so when you shoot black powder, it doesn't show all the soot that you end up having on your clothing. Now, next in line of camouflagedness is Mae's favorite. Last year, we had a popular shirt, Martini Henry's, which was a bar theme on the Martini Henry. This time, we have a bar theme on the bar, Browning's Bar, and there are some gentle nudges to the idea of the actual BAR, like the fire selector. But of course, if you're not in the know, it's not really going to show. We've even managed to just use a simplified C&Rsenal logo on the sleeve, so this one won't stand out too much for your friends who might take offense. Following that, we have the sort of middle of the road, which is a very popular design that's come back for its third time, sort of. The first year that we did the Cycle of Violence, everybody loved it. The second year, I let it slide again because many people felt they missed out. We did it in a two-color and we did it in a softer shirt. I don't want to keep printing the same shirt over and over again, and yet people keep calling for the Cycle of Violence. They really love it. They can give it to various relatives that aren't even into guns. It's just a fun pun. So I scrounged around the archives, and I actually found a totally different World War I French Cycle of Violence. This was a bicycle project that was not able to get off the ground, but there was a prototype and some photos, so we managed to find probably the oddest Hotchkiss-mounted bicycle weapon that we could and still get it into a shirt form. So this is the 2.0 Cycle of Violence, with of course the same simplified C&Rsenal logo and C&Rsenal writing on the sleeve. This is a shirt that technically depicts a firearm, and yet I don't think anyone's ever found a reason to complain about it yet, so your call. Now, the other two are distinctly firearm shirts, which you can wear proudly, and I often do, although I live in the dirty South, so I just get high fives for this sort of thing. This is probably my favorite World War themed shirt that we've done. This is the Somme Skeet Club. We actually did a patched version of this long ago, although this came out a lot better. We have our crossed trench guns, and of course your favorite target, our little stick grenades from the Germans, along with a disc grenade, which thankfully looks a bit like a clay. You can also get a bit of a clay reference over on our sleeve. The 200 straight might not make sense if you're an actual shooter, but it does if you're a viewer of the show, as we have now cleared 200 episodes of Primer this year. And finally, my favorite, because I don't know why I'm in a very clean, crisp mood this year, a white t-shirt with actually what I've been calling the Gunpla, the literal Gunpla, because we have a Colt 1911A1 broken down into its component pieces and then displayed in that little plastic extrusion for model making kits. I genuinely love how this came out. Now I will say, out of all the shirts, this one fared the worst under digital printing. You may notice some incomplete lines in the preview. However, when it goes to our actual screen printing, this will be rectified and will come in very nicely. I also really love the sleeve on this design. We actually involved a designer friend of mine in some of these projects, and he is a much better illustrator than I am. This is an excellent t-shirt. Now, as always with these campaigns, you have 30 days to make your purchase. After those 30 days, Indiegogo will collect all the funds, they'll sit on them for a minute and then distribute them to us. We give them to the printer then puts them in for screen printing. Frankly, because they've gone so well, we know that Martin will go ahead and make our screens right away, so once he has the money to buy the raw material, we'll just send it. So the reason this campaign is happening now is that there's enough time for domestic shipping to have their shirts arrive for Christmas, so you can give them away as presents if you'd like to. They make really good presents, actually. If you're international, it's a bit dependent on how the shipping is for your country. If you order from the US, you're probably well aware of this anyway. The cost has thankfully remained the same from last year on the shirts themselves. This is something that we wanted to do because we felt like we couldn't just hand everything down to you guys in terms of the inflation aspect. We'd like to protect our viewers. A lot of you I know are buying these to donate to the show, and specifically to donate to the show. But a lot of people really genuinely want to wear these, and we want to keep the cost down as much as we can. What we couldn't control is the pass-through shipping. And I want to be very clear, that pass-through shipping shows in our total on Indiegogo. So there are times when it looks like we made more gross money in a year than we did the previous year, but our net is lower because the shipping costs went up so high. And that's been happening over and over again. So if you look at the shirts, we've limited everything down to the actual shipping. We've limited the price down as much as we can and still have, some of that coming in for the profit of the show so that we can run the show. If you really like the shirts, go ahead and get a couple extra because it's not going to affect your shipping very much. And then you have them in case you stain them or tear them up. And the worst case scenario is you've given us a little extra currency to do the thing that you're already watching this channel for. Every year, by the way, I get people about middle of summer going, I accidentally tore my favorite shirt. Do you guys have any more in inventory? And they kind of have to wait until we release the returns and misorders, which will end up being almost a year later, and then they get snapped up like they did this year, and you guys kind of miss out. So if you think you're in love with it, and you want to spend an extra 20-something bucks and just go ahead and get a second one, by all means do it now. This is the best time to do it. All right, so I believe that's covered all the high notes. It's quality screen printing. They'll look more like these prints that you're seeing here on the screen now rather than the actual prints in my hand, as these are rapidly digitally printed examples and not our screen prints. The campaign will be running for the next 30 days, so you have some time to make up your mind, but don't forget to actually get your orders in. We always have some people that are a little upset the week after because they didn't put it on the calendar. Also, last year, we noticed something that confused a lot of people, which is the fact that Indiegogo has added a tip system. These funds do not go to us, they go to Indiegogo. So unless you want to tip the platform, don't put any sum in this area. And of course, uncheck the box if it happens to be automatically checked. I apologize for you having to keep an eye out for this, and we meant to change the platform due to the somewhat deceptive nature of it last year. But unfortunately, we ran out of time this year, and I had not actually picked a new host. So if anybody has a recommendation for next year, by all means, let me know. All right, salesmen aside, let me make a more personal appeal. For those of you who have run your own businesses or are aware of how small businesses work, you understand that this is the point at which 10 years in, that you start to settle into rhythm. And a lot of people lose the script. They stop doing the core tenets of what they wanted to do in order to appease a small minority of people that are very vocal. We've avoided that for as much as we possibly could. We know who is paying our bills, the silent majority of people who are patrons or merchandise purchasers. They want long format, in-depth history of firearms. And the reason why firearms specifically is because you're not going to see it on PBS or cable. We're all aware of this. So if you like this content, we'd really like you to reinvest in us by contributing either on Patreon or buying this product here in front of you, or both. And this year is more important than ever because Mae and I believe so strongly in this mission. We've gone back into debt for the first time on the show in a number of years. Instead of these funds coming in and going straight into the sort of inventory for us to use throughout the next year, these have to go in and be spent on expenses we've already made because we're in this building. So we are betting on you guys. We're betting on you wanting this material. And we're also re-emphasizing our commitment to producing it the right way. Better visuals, better colors, better setting, better communication. We're streamlining as much as we can to keep telling you the same stories in a way that you understand even easier. And we're going to tell you more stories because we're going backwards and forwards in time. And I'm really stretching my library and pulling in thousands of dollars more books just so that I can say it accurately like we always have. So if you like what I am saying now and you want to support that endeavor, I promise you these funds are going to go right back into the production of the show, not into my personal pocket. I can't even speak straight. All right, thank you all and have a good one.